You have watched 40 hours of Spanish television with English subtitles on. Be honest with yourself about how much Spanish you got out of those 40 hours. For most people, the answer is close to none and they blame themselves for it. It was not them, it was the subtitle. So here is the answer up front. English subtitles are not evil and they are not useless, but they cannot do the job you are hoping they do, and the reason is simple and slightly brutal. Reading is faster than listening. Given a free answer in a language you already know, your brain takes it and switches the other channel off. That is not weakness, that is efficiency, and it is happening whether you want it to or not. What I want to give you is the actual ladder. There are 4 ways to do this, they go in a specific order, and knowing which rung you are on is worth more than any rule about whether subtitles are allowed. Then the 2 situations where English subtitles are the right choice and everybody tells you otherwise. And at the end, the mistake that wastes the most time of all, which is not about subtitles at all. Mode 1, English subtitles. What actually happens here is that you watch an English film with Spanish decoration. You will follow the plot perfectly, you will feel like you spent the evening on Spanish. You will retain almost nothing and you will conclude that you have a bad memory. Mode 2, Spanish subtitle. This is the one most people skip and it is the single most valuable rung on the ladder. Now the text and the sound are the same language, so the text stops being an answer key and starts being a map. It shows you where one word ends and the next begins, which is the thing your ear cannot do yet. Let me show you the problem it solves. Here is a normal sentence written properly. El lobo corre en el bosque con el otro animal. And here is what arrived at your ear. Same audio. The Spanish subtitle is doing exactly one job and it is the right job. It is putting the gaps back so you can attach sounds you heard to words you know. Then, over weeks, your ear learns to put the gaps in by itself and you stop needing it. Mode 3. No subtitles at all. This is the destination and it is unpleasant for a while, which is why people avoid it forever. The trick is not to be brave about it. The trick is to only do it with material that is far too easy for you, so that removing the text does not remove the meaning. And mode 4, which is not really a mode, it is a repair tool. Watch a scene with no subtitles, then again with Spanish ones to see what you missed, then a third time with none. 10 minutes done that way is worth more than 2 hours of anything else on this list, and it is the reason people who study one short clip repeatedly overtake people who watch whole series. So which rung are you on? There is a quick test and it takes 1 minute. Put on something in Spanish with Spanish subtitles and watch for 60 seconds. If you can read them comfortably and they help, you are on rung 2 and that is where you should live for a while. If they are going past too fast to read, the material is too hard for you, not the subtitles. Go and find something easier rather than slowing the video down. And if you find yourself reading them and not hearing the audio at all, you are treating Spanish text like English text and you need to close your eyes for 30 seconds at a time to force the ear back on. That middle one is the most common and the most misdiagnosed. People find subtitle racing past, decide subtitles do not work for them and go back to English. The subtitles were fine. The show was 3 levels above them. Now the part where I argue against myself. There are 2 situations where English subtitles are the correct choice and the internet is fairly dogmatic about pretending otherwise. The first is when you are not studying. If it is 11 at night and the alternative to watching a Spanish film with English subtitles is watching an English film, put the English subtitles on and enjoy the film. You will absorb the rhythm, you will pick up a few things, and most importantly, you will stay in contact with the language on a day you had nothing left. Contact on easy terms beats no contact. The second is when the material genuinely matters to you and you would rather understand it than train on it. A film you have been waiting for. A conversation in a documentary you care about. Watch it properly in English and then go back later and use it as training material once you already know what happened. Trying to learn from something while you are also desperate to follow it does both jobs badly. There is a popular thing I want to talk you out of, and it looks so reasonable that it has become a whole category of app showing both subtitles at once, Spanish on one line and English underneath. It looks like the best of both. In practice, remember what your brain does with a free answer. Given a Spanish line and an English line on the same screen, your eye goes to the English one every single time, and now you are not even reading the Spanish. You have built a slightly worse version of Mode 1 and given it a more studious name. There is one honest use for it and it is narrow. As a lookup tool when you have already listened, already read the Spanish and are stuck on one specific line. Used that way, it is fine. Used as your default watching mode, it is comfortable, it feels like studying, and it quietly replaces the work. Now, what about the material where subtitles are not on offer at all? Music, podcast, the radio. This is where a lot of people's actual Spanish contact happens, and the latter does not obviously apply. For music, the answer is easy and slightly unromantic. Find the lyrics and treat them as the subtitle. Read them once, then play the song and follow along, and then play it again without looking. Songs are the single best repetition device ever invented because you will voluntarily listen to the same 3 minutes 40 times and never once feel like you are studying. For podcasts, choose ones made for learners, which almost always publish a transcript. And use the transcript in the same order as everything else on this ladder. Listen first, then read, then listen again. Reading it first turns the whole thing into a reading exercise with background noise. And on the automatic subtitles that get generated for you. For clear Spanish speech, they are usually good enough for this purpose. They will get names wrong and they will punctuate strangely, and none of that matters because you are not using them as a source of truth. You are using them to see where words end. And now the mistake that costs more time than the subtitle question ever will, and it has nothing to do with subtitles. Watching things once. Almost everybody does this because it is what we do with entertainment in our own language. Watch, enjoy, move on. But in a language you are learning, the first pass is where you are working out what is happening, and the second pass is where the language becomes visible. The third is where it sticks. Which means the highest value change you can make tonight is not a subtitle setting. It is watching a 5-minute thing 3 times instead of a 50-minute thing once. That feels wrong, it is boring the second time, and it works substantially better than the alternative. Repetition is unfashionable because it does not feel like progress and it does not photograph well. It is still the mechanism. Let me finish by making rung 2 happen for you right now. I am going to say 4 sentences and the words will be on screen in Spanish while you hear them. Do not read ahead. Let the text and the sound arrive together. El perro pequeño vive en una casa azul. La casa está cerca del parque. Por la mañana el perro corre en el parque con otros animales. El perro está muy contento. Whatever you just experienced, notice that the text was not translating for you. It was showing you where the words ended in a language you were simultaneously hearing. That is the whole argument for Spanish subtitles in one paragraph, and it is why the ladder has that rung in the middle. English subtitles for enjoyment and for tired evenings, Spanish subtitles for actual training, nothing at all of material that is too easy for you, and the repair loop when you want the fastest 10 minutes available. I would like to know how long you stayed on English subtitles before you tried the Spanish ones, because almost everybody stays far too long and then describes the switch as the moment things changed. The numbers people give are usually in years. If you want one thing to do tonight, switch the subtitles to Spanish on something you have already seen and know well. Same show, same episode, and the training starts immediately because you are not spending anything on the plot. There are a couple of videos here that follow on from this one. Take a few seconds and pick one.